Hey guys, how's it going today? Thanks for tuning into our first podcast. My name is Josh Kramer. Underthegun897 is my PSN tag, and I'm here today with my podcast partner. And we're going to be covering a wide range of topics today, all things video games. We're talking about that PS2 backwards compatibility to Star Wars Battlefront dominating on the PS4 front, all the way to the new PS4 avatars. So why don't we kick off today with that sweet emulation of backwards compatibility of that PS2. What do you think about that? Oh yeah, I'd love to see Jack and Daxter. I'd love to see Ratchet. I'd love to see Sly. I'd love to see God of War. I'd love to see Kingdom Hearts. There's so many old games I'd love to just see come back that a whole whole new generation of kids playing this PS4 nowadays. They don't even know about it, and it'd be great to get them introduced to it. Man, I would hope that it wouldn't be that much because we got old games, 10-year-old games now. Think about it, the PS2's been around for 10 years, 15 years. I would hope that it'd be kind of like the PS3 store where the games would be maybe like $5.99, $6.99. But I could see maybe even the really rare games, like I know Shadow of the Colossus is the one I've always wanted to play. That game could very well be up in the $15 to $20 range. How do you feel? You think that Sony's been? This is a response to them with E3 with Microsoft bringing out their backwards compatibility, or what? What's going on with that? Oh yeah, you think we're going to be seeing those PS1 games coming too, or just probably just PS2 for now? Mm-hmm. I definitely think that if it's not something they're going to offer right away, it's definitely something they need to at least try. Because I'm sure a lot of old school gamers like myself, they still have their PS2 disc lying around. So I mean, I would love to be able to see one day come home, pop in a PS2 disc on my PS4. That'd be awesome to see. I don't. I just you just can't beat the disc, man. You can't beat putting in a disc in the console. Digital is. I mean, I get it. It's new. People love digital, but I'd love the physical copies. That would just be amazing, being able to slide the disc in. Oh yeah. I think the hardware. I know that when they originally announced the PS4, that's what they boasted was that the hardware is going to be really developer friendly. It was going to be all around as far as the tech goes, which was different than the PS3 cell processor, which notoriously, if you remember, was very hard for developers and really struggled with PS3 for the first couple years of life. So I think that they definitely should be able to run an update similar to the Xbox One, what Microsoft's doing with that brings the emulation. And I mean, that brings up another question. If it was actually there all along and they're just now releasing it, but I don't think that they would have to, because I mean, do you think a PS2 is just a DVD? So I don't really think they would have to bring out a whole new line of PS4 hardware to play it. I think it should be an update they should be able to unlock, but I guess we'll see what happens with that. Now, do you think they're going to be bringing the PS3 games eventually somehow, or they're going to be banking off that PS Now service, with 19.99 per month, whatever it is? We ever going to be able to just pop in our PS3 games and it's going to be able to go from there? Uh-huh. And I think, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and you know that's another good point because we're seeing a lot of those classic PS3 exclusives get remastered for the PS4. I mean, you had The Last of Us, we got the whole Uncharted trilogy, we got God of War 3, and then what we got Beyond Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls coming up next. So it's a question of whether or not they're just going to try to profit off of those old games and sell them to people who didn't get to play them last gen. Versus, you know, it takes a lot more work to remaster a PS2 game than it would be to remaster a PS3 game, as far as upgrading those resolution and textures. Yeah, I've read a little bit about that. I hear that they're bringing in kind of similar to what Until Dawn did, and I know if you've played Life is Strange, where you can actually see what your PSN friends, the choices they made. So they are tweaking it and adding a few new features, but I'd have to wait to see a price drop for that, probably, as I do own it on the PS3. So that's definitely not high on my radar of games coming out, but it definitely will be a nice little thing for people who didn't own PS3 or perhaps never even bought the game when they did it to be playing it. So I know that developers got their new game coming out. Yeah. Oh yeah, because I mean that game looked when that game came out a few years ago. I was towards the end of the PS3's life, and it looked incredible back then. I cannot even wait to see what they've done to it and how it's going to look now. So, so as far as with their backwards compatibility, their holiday lineup, their bundles, I think they're doing fairly well for themselves. I don't think they're gonna catch up completely to Sony, at least not anytime soon. But they're definitely trying to win back the favor of the gamer after that disastrous launch of the Xbox. So they're definitely bringing the games. They're definitely bringing the features people want. You know, we got the DVR, we got the backwards compatibility, we got a lot of things that people are wanting. So I think Xbox One, if you're gonna be wanting to buy one, now's the time to buy because you can get the bundles. Like I know, well, like with Sony, you can get the Uncharted and Last of Us and God of War bundle, but Xbox, you can get a Gears of War bundle with that Rare Replay collection, which is a collection of all those old games. That's not a bad deal either. So it's a great time for both consoles, and next year is going to be a great year as well. Lots of big stuff coming on the exclusive forefront for Microsoft and Sony. Oh yeah. What do you, the Wii U? Yeah, Code NX. It's coming probably within the next year to 2 years. So I don't know. What I'd have to say is that I hope Nintendo learns from their mistakes and they really try to go for the core gamer this time and focus on what people want. They want that hardware power. They want those games, those realistic graphics. Now, of course, I don't think the cartoony games are bad. I love my Mario, I love my Zelda, but I think they need to attract a whole nother audience to be marketable, to be relevant. Because I look at the gamepad kind of like the Xbox Connect, and like look how that went for them, and they totally turned that around and just dropped the Connect completely, so they're not forcing it down your throat. And if Nintendo were to drop that gamepad and not force it down your throat, I think they might be able to drop the sales of the console and maybe see some better sales this holiday and into next year. That's partially why I think the Sony is winning this gen, because of the gamepad and because of the Connect. Yes. Yep. Oh yeah. I think the first strategy that Nintendo needs to take is getting that hardware so that they can get these big name games. Because I mean, you know, you have all these games coming out: Battlefront, you got Fallout, you got Rainbow Six coming next month, which we'll be talking about fairly shortly. But you have all these big games coming, and they're on everything but the Wii U. So that really is kind of a hinder for them because they're getting very overlooked by all these big titles coming out. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I think I'm gonna press the share button here because I think I'm about to run out of time. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, that goes back to what I was saying, because, like, you know, back on the N64 and even into the GameCube, they still had decent third party support that brought those different types of unique games, whereas now they have virtually none. So hopefully they're going to be able to bring their new console in with a lot of partnerships with games, you know. You see, they just recently announced Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy VII, all the way back on the PS1, is coming to Super Smash Brothers. So, and you know, we had that announcement. Yeah, we had that announcement of Final Fantasy VII remake. So there is a possibility that we're going to see Final Fantasy VII remake as a launch title for the NX. I mean, all the signs are there. It's possible. The Wiimotes. No. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the gamepad and the Wii U Pro controllers, they were a nice step, but just overall the marketing of the console itself and just what they focused on, like they really pushed the dual screen aspect of it, almost kind of like a big 3DS. I think that's really what killed it for a lot of people, and you know, people just want to sit down and play their games, you know, with like a traditional controller, like you said. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree that it should probably be priced at a price point of an accessory like anything else, like the PS camera. So I think that it shouldn't be pushed as mandatory or the main thing about the PS4 because not everybody is going to be interested in virtual reality, just like not everybody was interested in motion. And I think that's really what backfired for Nintendo. They lost that core demographic, and then it hurt them with the Wii U. So I just hope that Sony doesn't push that and make that their forefront. You know, they need to keep it with the games and how they've been doing it. It's been working very well for them. And like even like if you look as an example of Microsoft with the Xbox One and Kinect, they really pushed that Kinect, and as you saw, it totally backfired to them. And look where they're at now. They don't even talk about Kinect anymore. They completely cut it from their system. It's an accessory like how it should have always been. So as long as the Sony prices it correctly, appropriately, and they just treat it as an accessory, not as a forerunner for the console, I think it'll do well for the people who are interested in that type of gameplay. Mm-hmm. Definitely not anytime soon, but I mean, I will face the reality that these companies they do start making their new consoles as soon as they launch the other one. You know, they always get those ideas rolling. But I really hope to see. I know a lot of people say that the PS3 and 360 were around for too long. You know, 360 was around for 8 years, PS3 was around for 7, and general console cycle is 5 years. But I don't. I really just like. I call me spoiled, but I don't think we've seen enough games from these consoles to be talking about a new one yet. We definitely have not seen enough on the exclusive side. We definitely need to see more from like Sony's first party developers. Like Naughty Dog is their top dog, and they haven't even released a game yet. It's gonna be 3 years into the system, and we've only seen a couple from like Sucker Punch and not even Meeting Molecule. So I definitely want to see more games from these companies before we start talking about PS5 and Xbox Two or whatever Microsoft is gonna call it. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right, yeah, and because like you always have those early adopters that buy the consoles day one, year one, but we've had a lot of people buy them as of last year, and of course this holiday season. So to go around and start talking about PS5 would only probably hurt their sales of people who are just going to be now jumping into the console 2, 3 years into its life. So I definitely hope to not hear anything about it. At least I would say 2017, early 2018 is probably when I think rumors are going to start circulating of a release date, but nothing before that I think would be a mistake, a total mistake. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that'll be cool because like we have games like Last of Us where people they love the customization and even though it doesn't really add anything to the game itself or maybe the console itself, but they like that aesthetically pleasing look of it. And I think the avatars are gonna be something that makes people look at their console more uniquely, look at their PSN name more uniquely, and it's gonna be something that appeals to a lot of people. I know it's worked very well for Microsoft when they introduced the avatars, so I definitely think it's something that people are gonna latch onto and be interested in, especially at a price point of 99 cents. That's not bad at all. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Going to see a big user install base. How do you feel about I was just going to talk about like with Battlefront. We just saw some articles about that recently. Dominating the PS4 forefront over the Xbox One or PC. Now it appears that exclusive marketing that Sony did for the game this holiday season is really working for them. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. The hype definitely delivered on that game, I'd say. A lot of people are real happy with it, and sales speak for itself. I think definitely Fallout 4, if we're going to talk about Game of the Year, definitely a contender next to Metal Gear. But I honestly think Fallout 4 will probably beat out the other big games this year. It'll definitely beat out Bloodborne, definitely beat out Witcher. It'll probably beat out Metal Gear. So I think it excites a lot of people. It makes a lot of people want to play the game for hours. You have people saying that they spend 10 hours building a house and they haven't even started the game. So it's a lot to take in for people, and they really are probably gonna enjoy it for a long time. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't win Game of the Year for 2015. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and I think the market, it was really oversaturated this year with the shooters. When you had your Destiny, then you had Call of Duty, you got Battlefront, we got Rainbow coming out. So I think that there's a lot more options, and Call of Duty doesn't have the dominant market share anymore because people have other games to play. I think Call of Duty, yeah, it definitely could. It definitely could probably. We might hopefully see it not become an annual franchise anymore, but we'll see what happens in the future with that. Oh yeah, I heard about that. I mean, they've supported that game for a couple years now. It launched on PS3 and Xbox 360, in 2013. Then last year, or this year, came out on the new consoles. So, I mean, 2 years out, they probably are going to be announcing something new with that series pretty soon. I've heard rumors that the new game, GTA 6, if we're going to call it that, is going to be the size of the whole United States. So, I mean, we'll see what comes of that rumor. And I definitely think that they got some big stuff prepared for us. So I could see why they might be limiting their content for GTA right now. So oh yeah, I definitely think we're probably going to be hearing about GTA 6 or whatever they're going to call it probably the next year or so. I'd say maybe even E3 next year might be even say not wouldn't be pushing it. That could be possible. I definitely wait on that Uncharted 4. I think that's going to be a big game for me next year. And of course, the Division's been talked about for a few years now. So both of those coming out early next year on PS4. Easily. Ghost Recon Wildlands. Oh yeah, they got a lot of stuff coming. I mean, they got it's gonna be a good year for both consoles. They got a lot of exclusives coming, like they got Quantum Break coming on Xbox. They got Scalebound. They got Recore, Gears of War 4, Crackdown 3. And then on the Sony front, we got those new games just announced at the Paris conference. Robinson the Journey and Wild and Detroit. And we also got the Ratchet and Clank reboot, Uncharted 4, Dreams. So I think it's gonna be a great year for both consoles as far as first party and third party games go. Hmm. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what that game is. It looks very promising. We'll see if it delivers. So yeah. So thanks for listening, guys, to our first podcast. I hope you enjoyed, and we'd appreciate the feedback and anything you want us to talk about. We're always going to be talking about current game topics and all things gaming. So signing off now. It's Josh Kramer, Under the Gun 897, and of course my partner here.